I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from May 16th, 2019 monthly meeting.
Yeah, second. I wasn't here, so I can't. Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to visitors' comments. Right here in the front row. Nancy, visitors' comments?
Do I have any comments? Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sure I will.
You save them?
Saving them.
You too.
I just have a simple question, and I don't know how people are paid, but Jimmy Allegretto, it says that he gets a commission, not a salary, from the taxes. I don't know how that works. I'm just curious.
It's a regular paycheck.
It's a percentage.
It's a percentage of what you collect?
Yeah, it's not a paycheck.
Okay.
No, you don't get a paycheck for that.
Oh, that's it. Well, people pay their taxes, looks like.
Yeah.
That's all.
Right.
You guys got any junkyard licensing?
Louder.
You got any junkyard licensing?
Junkyard license.
Yeah, we got one from Novi over there that just took over the gap. We came in and filed everything.
Okay.
Paid the fee.
Are you gonna allow buses and truck boxes as storage containers?
Can you speak up because I can't hear
Are you gonna allow buses and truck boxes all over for storage containers?
Buses and truck boxes.
Doesn't come up, does it?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, what do you mean in the junkyard itself?
No, anywhere.
Or, I don't
Any storage containers should, if it's anything bigger than like a shed, 10 by 10, they'd have to have assessment.
Okay,
Right?
that's what I'm
I mean,
asking.
that's, right, that's always been
Anything over an 8 by 8, right?
No, anything over 100 square feet.
100 square feet, 10 by 10, you're okay.
So you're allowed to bring in a bus or a truck box and put it in as a storage container?
Truck box might be considered a storage container. A bus would be a vehicle that doesn't run. Wouldn't be, you know, if it doesn't operate. That would be my take on it. You know, a bus.
They take automobiles. It's on the sign, they take automobiles.
Oh, over at Novi's, yeah, but I mean, they're registered junkyard, they're doing their operation there. I think he's asking in general, right? You're saying if somebody has an old bus on their property and they're using it for storage.
Yeah.
And or a trailer from a truck, using it for storage. Is it on wheels? Is it just taken on a container?
Don't matter, they all have to be licensed and inspected.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't encountered that yet.
I know two different ones. I think there's a couple that like old Preston trailers, people bought using for storage. If it's over 100 square foot, they should have a permit for it, assessment permit. Alright?
Yeah, so 100 square foot.
Yeah.
Alright.
I can go now. So I brought you things. I'm Jocelyn Dash from the Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. We've been doing classes since 2012 in St. Mary's, and so we're going around and making sure you're aware, because that was a pilot program that started back then. 2 years ago, we were approved by PDE to be our own college, which is what I'm going to do and pass these around. Excuse me, what college? It's Northern Pennsylvania Regional College is the name. Right now, we're still partnered with Gannon, so the accreditation is through Gannon.
Okay.
But we did, a couple weeks ago, get our official letter, so we should be starting to be on our own probably in the spring. So we have at least one more term with Gannon, who has been fantastic partners with us. They can get degree programs at the CEC in St. Mary's and over 20 other locations throughout our 9-county area. We use interactive TV, so it is a face-to-face classroom. And forgot my point. It's a face-to-face, so and all the classes are in the evening. So it's very useful so far to people that are working. It's only $185 a credit, which is a fraction of a lot of college prices, even the online. And that's usually someone's next question is, why not just online? And students learn differently. So sometimes we've seen some success if they start with us in the face-to-face, where they can interact with the instructors, learn some time management, and and then go on to online. They have been successful that way. But they can get associate degrees completely. So a complete degree, there's no one's pulling out or anything that we've had in the past. And then with workforce training, that we just got on Terry Hinton, I don't know if you know her. So she's also working out at the CEC in St. Mary's, but she covers all 9 counties right now. I just have Elton Cameron myself with the academic part, but with workforce, we have a CDL, which is what your last page is there, that is running on a rolling admissions, and there will be a location here in St. Mary's, Coudersport, and Warren. And then we've done some blueprint reading over the time. That's been pretty popular. We have CNA in the pipeline and introduction to powdered metals. So those 2 are coming. It'll probably be a little bit longer till we have any official associate degrees in those. Right now, those are certificate programs. That's the gist of it. I try not to take too much of your time, because I know you have important things to do. But I just want to usually it's people here that care about the community, so you should know these things are happening. Kids can take them while they're in high school if they're eligible. Once they've graduated, that's all we care about. They don't need certain GPAs or SATs, but while they're in high school, we do have eligibility for them, but it's even cheaper then. It's $60 a credit for that transcript that will transfer wherever they want to go. Questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're part of any groups, I forgot, I always say that. If you're part of any groups that we can talk to or anything like that, please let us know.
Where you at, the mayor's staff building?
Yeah, we're on the 3rd floor, yeah. So, but the classrooms are throughout there, but yeah, our offices are there. Great, thank you.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Christine,
I'd just like to know what you've done to enforce your nuisance and junkyard ordinance in Chicago and Maple.
basically, again, it's a complaint-driven thing, so it's not up to us to go out and enforce it. It's complaint-driven.
It took 30 days to take effect, but we've drafted some letters to some of the problem places that we've had. I won't point them out, but we've all talked about them enough. And they're gonna be getting that letter, which is the first point of contact, and then start the ball rolling from there. And that's just on the handful that we've been dealing with now for the last couple of years.
The letters that you drafted, are they concerning abandoned vehicles or?
They are, yeah, a couple of them.
Not so much, but to
Some of them have some abandoned vehicles. It's the houses themselves, the properties that were really junked up and were falling down. Each letter is addressed to the particular concern of the property, that fits the ordinance.
And how much time do they have to respond?
They have 15 days to respond by the ordinance.
letter.
And that's as far as just responding back to us, and then for us to sit down with them or go through with them to explain what it is they need to do, and then beyond that, it's we would set the timeline for the remedy of the problem.
But I have a question.
Yes.
That's a good thought, Christine. How is this tracked and monitored? Like, say that 15 days, once the person receives the letter, they have 15 days to respond. What if they don't respond? Who monitors the fact that they responded or didn't respond?
Probably the next step, the lawyer would send them the right.
How do you know that how do you know if they responded or not? Who tracks
It has
that?
to be responded here at the township.
Yeah,
Is that you, Jamie?
so it's to respond to the township.
Well, not only that they responded, how do you know when the 15 days are up? How are you gonna monitor that?
Probably from
Maybe the date of the letter, when I know they would receive it a little bit after it was dated, but that would be the general premise. When I get a letter that says you have so many days to,
But how are you gonna know when that date is?
I guess what we're asking is,
Huh?
We'll know when they were sent.
Yes, but then how are you gonna know when it's time to contact them again?
is there a log?
Once the
Is there-
15 days are up, we'll.
But who's gonna
Jamie
check?
she has a file on each.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I'm asking.
I'm a little thrown off by what you were asking.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
everything's kept in a file, each individual cases that you can know.
Joe?
And
I'm on the Township Water Authority Board of Directors, and I was
wanted to ask the supervisors how they felt, how the members of the water company exempted themselves from drug testing. And now they're gonna do the future drug testing background for employees for the public water system. And my question was, how does the supervisors feel about them exempting and grandfathering themselves, that they're gonna do it on the new hires?
To me, I think that's something to be, as you as a board member.
Well, I wasn't notified till the meeting. They didn't say anything to me prior to the meeting. I just wanted your thoughts on it. Being you're the
I
supervisor.
mean, we drug test our employees.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you drug tested?
me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
okay, then,
They should be
I still got my CDL.
Yeah, but they
yet, and I'm
accepted
still
them.
I'm not making.
I don't know how they would do that, I mean.
That's what I asked.
They were
you.
trying to-
When I was
plowing, I was drug tested 2 or 3 times. I loved it because it was a guaranteed stop at Dutch Pantry for breakfast.
Did you ever hear about being allowed to exempt yourself?
No, never heard of that.
I think that's an issue with the board, the water authority.
I'll bring it up again next time.
Yeah, I mean,
next meeting, yeah.
it's-
I just want you guys' opinion, what you thought.
I think it's,
Don't sound right to me.
Yeah, I don't,
Is it a matter of cost, Joe? Does it cost a lot?
it's,
It's only like $60, right?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because-
it's not that much.
The biggest, we're not gonna get involved in it a lot. The biggest thing, I don't care, same as our township, if somebody runs into one of our vehicles, employees, you know, it's a commercial vehicle, they're gonna do a test, do a check on the equipment and all this. I mean, it's, you don't know, but I think it should be done.
I do
I
too.
mean, if it's sewage,
yeah, we have to do it here because
Yeah.
they're all CDL employees. I don't know if the water company, I don't know if they've ever done that in the past or not, because they don't have CDL.
yeah, they don't need a CDL.
Well, it's in the meeting minutes.
Go ahead, Nancy, you have a question?
It might be up to the employer if he wants to drug test, I'm not sure, but.
I'm not sure.
My other question was back to the ordinance. Have you created the form that people can come in here and fill out? Could I see that
Complaint
form?
We,
Could I
yeah,
see
we've
a
always had
copy
a
of that?
complaint for
There's
it.
always
You've always been
Yeah,
one
even under the old ordinance, it was.
Oh, all right.
But you can get a copy of it after the meeting if you'd
Go ahead,
like.
Christine.
Well, yes, I would like one.
Joe,
Yeah.
are you talking about the board members themselves exempting themselves? Was that one of your
The
questions?
way I read the article on the minutes of the meeting packet there, it was the, members that, work on the authority, not the board members.
The employees.
Employees, yeah.
Okay, because I was at the meeting and there was confusion because you were talking about the board members requiring
Well,
drug testing
They
too.
should be tested also, I agree on that too, but it's mainly the employees.
That was discussed at the meeting, and if that's the case, I was gonna say, wouldn't that fall back to the supervisors before you appoint someone to the
Yes.
board?
I don't know how the law works. I know if you're working for construction, you're driving a truck, Keith will probably know more about this, you have to be drug tested, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for drug.
Now, if you're working.
yeah, Rick knows, I mean, he works for the company, well, listen, I mean, everybody picks on Walmart, so we'll pick on Walmart. If you work at Walmart, I don't care if you're in the office, it doesn't matter what position you were in, you are drug tested.
Now, say
That
construction.
might be now,
Say
that just
construction.
started then.
Well, I don't know, I'm just saying,
Because
but
I work for Walmart and I was.
it's that way now. But anyway, all I'm saying is, listen, and I'm not picking on the water, or sewage, or anybody else. They're controlling our water.
Right.
You know, that ought to turn a red light on.
Well, the way it tastes, maybe we ought to have drug testing.
But I have worked in factories though, and in one place they say,
We're not,
yeah, we're testing you once a month, and that's the way it's gonna go, and if you don't pass, you're out of here. And I worked at another one that said, I don't care what you're doing, as long as you get your work done, that's your business.
There's a lot of places
So-
like that anymore,
Yeah,
because they can't get people
but
in.
again, if you're working construction, say you're not driving, because you're simply a laborer, they have to drug test?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it's company policy.
Alright.
Yeah, it's individual companies.
Okay,
But there is very few companies that aren't doing it.
right.
Because there's a liability if something would happen.
Oh, sure,
You
no
got
doubt.
a big lawsuit going in.
Sure, but, and it's really, you guys know, it's not that expensive. I mean, I'm on a random,
There's actually a lot of companies going away from it, they just test them at the hospital if something happens, because they can't get new hires, that's what they're.
That's correct.
That is the honest,
That's
that's the honest truth, that's what's going on.
Yeah, they can't get enough workers. None of
They're
them.
not testing it to get in the door, they're testing if they get hurt at work when they go to the hospital.
In an effort to.
Unfortunately, that is truth, you know what I mean?
Well, we're not allowed to do that.
Right.
We carry a license that mandates us by the federal
You have a
government.
CDL, you know.
I understand that, but still, all I'm saying is, I'm using the scenario as, these guys are treating our water. That
Well,
should be,
same as Homeland Security, you
Yeah.
know, same, should be no different than putting a fence around here.
well, they have to be, I'm pretty sure Patrick had to go through, background check.
They're both licensed, you know what I'm saying, to treat water, Stacy.
Well, I'm just saying, they had to go, did he go through a background check?
Well,
I
don't
that's
know
all
the
I'm asking.
process involved with that.
I don't know either, I'm just saying, I'm just using it as a scenario, I'm not.
I do, Joe, your next board meeting, bring it up and.
Yeah, I'll bring it up again next time.
Okay, moving on, Ron, you're gonna.
According to this new ordinance, from what I understand, you know, where junk cars and garbage and high weeds and brush and whatever, does someone have to make a complaint before you act on it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're not
We're not going around looking at
everybody.
everybody's backyard.
It's not specifically written that somebody has to make a complaint. If it's blatantly obvious, the township might contact. But yes, we're not gonna go around scouring yards looking for things. Yes, you know.
But if a neighbor has an issue with their neighbor and it's
It's
something.
gonna be neighbor against neighbor, that's what it means.
That's okay.
Not if your yard's cleaned up.
All right, moving on to the next, do you have anything?
Julia, I guess my question was answered here. In order to make the right moves to get yards cleaned up, brush, grass that's not mowed, that's higher than 10 inches, how do you go about it? Do we have to come here, or can I make a complaint?
Well, you can come in and Jamie will give you a complaint form.
Okay,
Then it's actually documented.
okay,
Then we have, you can see one of us on the street and say something, but at least we have it in writing.
okay.
Then we
But
take it from
again,
there.
beyond that point, you have to understand the next step of this. Somebody comes in and fills out a complaint. At that point, we'll go out and look at the complaint. We'll either say, yeah, it's a legitimate complaint, or we'll dismiss it. In other words, just because there's a complaint filled out,
I
doesn't mean there's
understand.
gonna be action.
My neighbors, living next door to me on Kennedy Street, at this point, the house is,
The house to your right.
yes,
Okay, I was
is
up
not
through there
being
last week.
used, and they're in and out, blah, blah, whatever. I'm not throwing stones at how, but I have kids running in my yard. I have, my grandkids are there, and everybody knows now by now, it was just a non-poisonous snake come out of the high grass, but there's rodents in there, and there's no garbage per se outside in the yard, but in the garage, they just did now take out about 20 bags. But,
They did have, I think it was a year or so ago, they did have a lot of buildup of garbage on the porch.
right, but I just want to get that grass. How do I go about getting it, or is it going to be too late in the summer? But I mean, it's not.
No, actually, you make put the address on there, and so we know exactly where it's at, but some of the grass complaints we have got already, and we start with a simple phone call on that.
Yeah, I know.
And we've received a complaint that this grass is.
I've asked them both.
And most have at least mowed it once or twice.
I have
Now, I'm not
asked
saying we contacted there, but.
the dad, and one time he made a stop to collect some things, and I said, are we going to get this grass taken care of? Because it's, it's not my problem anymore. I gave it to her. Well, I asked her before she left the premises, and she said, well, it ain't my problem, so
Who actually owns the residence?
that I don't,
It's either he or she,
yeah, I don't.
whichever.
I got a question.
But anyway, I wanted to know the right procedure.
Right.
Is to come in and.
And all you gotta give us
Form.
is an address, a physical address, and then we can go from there. You don't have to give names, because we'll look it up and find out who the property owner is, will be the person responsible.
Taxpayers.
We had somebody not mowing, we went the first complaints we got, called the landlord went down, took care of it, and said he's gonna have it mowed from now on, or I'm charging him.
No, they're buying it, or they're just about done buying it.
All right, you say you got a question on?
Yeah, my neighbor, the water runs right down his driveway, right across the road, right down into my yard, and it's constantly saturated. What can I do?
If it's running across township,
We're not gonna do mixed up with
right away, the ditch, it's ditch.
Our driveway's on the 255 right now.
See, there's no culvert there to drive up through.
Yeah.
Not much we can do.
Fill out a complaint form.
Bob, go ahead.
I got two questions. As everybody's seen, there's a new cell phone tower up on Red Hill.
Yes.
Do you know who the carriers on that are?
It's supposed to be AT&T.
AT&T?
Yeah.
Do they own the tower, or are they just leasing space?
I think they own the tower. I don't know that for a fact. My son has AT&T for a phone, and when he was over to get a new phone, the guy said that was their tower, and they were gonna put a series of possibly 5 in through the areas where there is no cell service. So I'm assuming the valley towards Benazet, but over the next few years, but that's the first of them. I don't think it's turned on yet.
I don't think they'll do anything until they get the one up behind Raleigh Kogan there, then yeah.
Well, and I talked to Kogan's, and they said that one right now is on hold, maybe until this one gets finalized, but I think it's the same company. So,
The guy that was gonna do Raleigh Kogan's was at one of our meetings, that night. That
That was
was young
T-Mobile.
Arizona or somewhere.
Yeah, that was T-Mobile. I looked up that
There's
company.
T-Mobile,
Well-
AT&T.
It's a project management company that puts these towers up. That guy represented, because I looked it up, because I'm so
He was in
nosy.
here, I thought he said they just did the towers and that was all.
That's it.
He said he was gonna do it when he was here. at that
That's what he
meeting.
said.
And then something happened, and
So it could be AT&T.
It could be any lease space.
Anything else, Bob?
Yes, I said I had two questions. Second question is, I think you said you sent out 15 letters to potential violators of this.
No, we didn't say 15, no.
What did you say? I guess I didn't.
It's you.
A few, yeah.
Okay.
It said 15 days to respond.
15 days,
All right, okay,
yeah.
that's right, that's 15. But my question is, each letter sent out is backed by a written complaint.
No, them ones, the 3 that were sent out, 3 in particular that we sent out were,
Ongoing.
yeah, like Jeremy said, they were obvious, little nuisance areas within the community.
So, not all the enforcement actions are precipitated from a complaint.
Right.
The supervisors from time to time will
May
engage
step in and
in
take
enforcement
up
action on their own, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then it's not strictly complaint driven.
Not 100%.
Okay, well, that's what you said earlier, and I was,
that's why I corrected, if you heard what I said. It doesn't have to be complaint driven. If something's blatantly obvious, one of them's done by the doctor's office down in Forest, for example. I mean, anybody can ride by there and see what's
You
happening.
have to be clear, it doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna act on one.
doesn't what?
Well, yeah.
If we're gonna have a complaint form filled out here, we're not gonna act on a complaint, 'cause a lot of that is a piss and match between neighbors, you know.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that, that goes on.
Sure.
But, this idea of complaint driven, I think it only fosters that to make people make complaints. I mean, I'm mad at Howie Barnett over there, so I see his dogs out there defecating in the yard, and, he's gotta clean that up.
Is it in your yard? Or his yard?
No, his yard, but
It's a
Scenario.
I thought you meant.
Howie has my name.
You wanna hire anybody to help enforce these rules and regulations, or you gonna take care of it yourself?
No, we're looking to hire. Absolutely.
You say you're looking to hire someone?
Yes.
Okay.
You wanna be that man?
Yeah.
It depends on how far it gets.
Actually, we got between Zach Lawhead, which is our code enforcement commercial, and Du Bois, he'll help us start, and Matt Young for the city of St. Mary's will help us once we get going. Not saying they're gonna do it, but they're more or less lead us through how they do it, so when it comes to
I would say this, a lot of people have voluntarily complied since we passed it. They're cleaning up, they're mowing, they're taking, you know, a lot of the complaints we've got have been about my neighbor hasn't cut his grass in a year and a half, you know.
What about if a
And
person,
they've cleaned it up, so that's what we're hoping for, is a lot of voluntary.
what if a person is just renting a property,
The landlord is responsible.
goes around?
They own the property, they're responsible.
Okay.
Okay, Keith, anything?
Yeah, just one question. I know you guys mowed the ball field enforcement at least one time, or I know weather. Are you gonna keep mowing?
No, I'm with you. I had them go down and mow it, and I don't know why they never went down and mowed it again, and I asked, and they said rain, tar, and chip, and it got ahead of them again, but yes, I want it mowed.
See, I got a problem with that. We're tying up our guys to mow, and the field isn't being used.
Well,
I mean, it looks like heck when you go by, and I agree with that. But the thing about it, we're spending wear and tear on our zero turn cutting. And, you know, well, we have summer help now too, we got
Well,
2 young guys.
But it is our field, our property to maintain, but I'll say this, we're hoping that possibly by next year we're using that field.
If it's used, yeah.
I mean, it was used all the time for either practices or, you know, I think if it was upkept.
We'd be using, we would have been using it already this year.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
We have a hard time finding the field for practices for 13 to 14-year-old boys that I coach.
Yeah, because I just, you know,
Yeah.
it was always a nice area.
Oh, yeah, I mean.
Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I just have a question about that, because we have a recreation board, do we not?
Yes.
And couldn't we suggest that they take care of that?
Well, I know what I would do.
We give the recreation board $3,000 a year to keep up with maintaining the parks, redoing the walking track. They redid the tennis courts and, you know, put some equipment into Burndale. It doesn't go very far.
No.
I mean, and that's pretty much what the board has done. The township's always maintained them as far as mowing them and, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
And really, that's what we're talking about is mowing.
but you were just
Yeah, but
bringing up
Jeremy-
the wear and tear, so.
Yeah. Go ahead, Keith.
the zero turn was purchased 50/50 township and rec board.
Okay.
So 50% of that zero turn was
Came out of their account.
paid for by the recreation board. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but
No, I did not know that.
yeah.
Anything else? I gotta move on out.
Why don't you just put that up for bids to keep it mowed?
We've done it.
They did that.
It's a lot cheaper for our summertime guys. to do
10
it.
years ago. That was 10
They
years
did
ago.
a nice job getting it all mowed down, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks of bad weather and tar and chip and everything else, and I don't know why I don't know if the younger guys just didn't know they had to go down there and mow it. But again, I think we need to get it under control and keep it mowed, that's my stance on it, so.
Anything, Howie, back there in the corner? Nothing?
Should mow it once a week, whether it needs it or not.
We're gonna move on to, approval of bills.